So I wanted to introduce you to my candidate, and that is Grayson Stanchikevich. And she is a student at Purdue University. She's studying political science as well as public relations. And her goal is to basically just better the environment, to better education, to better maternity and paternity leave. She stands for the people, for the common people. She wants to make our nation just a better nation to grow up in, to get a good education in, and her goals are to just achieve greatness not only for herself but for everyone in the country. She has so many amazing qualities, her love for other people, and her love just for service and for the betterment of the nation. And that is why I believe that she would be the perfect candidate for this project. So, um, she, Grayson basically, she's actually a friend of mine from college, and I've known her for a long time, but from my old college. But basically, in this paper, I just wanted to highlight her and what she stands for, so I was able to actually talk to her a lot about it. Um, and I think that she would actually be a really good candidate because she's a woman and because she's young and she's beautiful and she has a wonderful personality, as well as she's incredibly intelligent and just articulate and knows exactly what she wants, knows exactly what she would fight for if she were an actual candidate. Um, so with this, I think I talked about it a little bit already, but I the things that she stands for specifically that her and I talked about was just the government involvement in education. She just thinks that it's unnecessary, that we've been educating children the same way for a really long time, and so there's no reason to radicalize the way that we educate children. But also, she is really into protecting the environment and not just like going green, but actually like putting in things to keep the environment healthy for future generations. Um, and she's also a conservative, so her views on abortion are that she's pro life. Um, and she also has, she's really into supporting women in leadership, just that, you know, our society today needs to be more balanced between men and women because women are just as educated as men now, and they deserve a place in politics as well, and just in the world of business in general. Um, and along with that, she wants to reform maternity and paternity leave. Um, and the reason for that is I have a quote that she gave me, and she said that roughly 40% of companies offer paid parental leave and the companies that do that only offer an average of 4 weeks off. So maybe for paternity leave that wouldn't be as big of a deal, but I think for maternity leave, like to only be home with your child for 4 weeks is kind of crazy. And the fact that only 40% of companies actually offer that is pretty shocking. Um, and Along with that, I think that in terms of budgeting and things for that, for for this, I estimated around $50,000, but that's just because of like signs, websites, just hiring a crew, people that you would need to help get the campaign rolling. I think costs would eventually go up after that, but I think that that would be a good way to start it. And then over the course of the campaign, I think it would be really important to start with Grayson doing smaller things, like just getting really involved in her just her town, like where she lives and things like that, but also by volunteering her time to actually take action on the things that she claims that she's going to support. So starting small there and having her attend certain things that she needs to just to get her name out there. But then as things go, that would hopefully lead to her hosting her own events and having her own dinners, and eventually being a part of a huge part of the community to support the things that she's running to fix or running to help with. So when it comes to the demographic and stuff, I think that pretty much relates to everybody, especially because she's trying to reform education as well as focusing on things like maternity and paternity leave and just the environment in general. The only demographic that I think it doesn't reach as much is probably the retired generation, just because they don't worry about education anymore and they don't have kids that are going through, through high school when they're retired, or at least most don't. So I think that the older generations are probably the ones that would cause numbers just to like suffer a little bit. But other than that, I think that everybody wants to see a reform in education, so I think there would be support from them as well, just in that regard. I lost my place. The one thing that I think would be a bit of a problem in terms of the success is just that she's in support of the pro-life side of abortion, and I think that as much as it's sad to say, most of our nation, even though actually I believe more than half of our nation is pro-life, it's the pro-choice people that are the most outspoken about it. And I think that would damage the campaign, only because people would probably compare the fact that she's pro-life with the fact that she's probably not pro-women's rights, even though she totally is. I think that would be a bit of a problem. And I think that if you're looking back on the campaign, you probably would say that would be the biggest problem that you encountered, is just that there's really no reconciliation in that, which is why when I even asked her about it, she said that that was something she'd have to be really careful with. But other than that, I think that virtually, Grayson is an extremely kind and loving and sweet person. I think that would really help people attach to her and her personality and really want to support her, along with the fact that she's extremely hardworking and she's extremely inspiring. She could just make a big difference, I think, just having the perspectives that she does, and also the fact that she's a Christian, and that she cares about others, and that she really aspires to change the world, not just because she wants to be the one that's at the face of changing everything, but because she genuinely wants the world to be better for, her children and for her children's children, and for other, people that she knows. I think that it's a very personal thing and it's not a pride thing.